Back here in Atlanta, Suns and Hawks, game number 3 on the road trip for Phoenix. Tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Discount Tire Company. Visit Discount Tire Company on the web by logging on to discounttire.com. Discount Tire, low prices, more choices, and the best brands. Here is the starting lineup for Phoenix. Steve Nash, another sensational performance in that victory last night against the Heat, along with Raja Bell in the backcourt. Boris Diaw back here in Atlanta, the former first-round pick of the Hawks, at one forward spot along with Sean Marion, and Kurt Thomas beaten up and battered after battling with Shaq and Zoe last night in Miami, but still in the starting lineup for Suns head coach Mike D'Antoni. A near miss for Coach D'Antoni, nearly coaching the West All-Stars. But alas, it's Avery Johnson and the Dallas Mavericks staff that will head to Houston to coach the Western Conference All-Stars, so Mike and his guys, they can enjoy the All-Star break. Starting lineup now for the Hawks. Come in 11-29, second worst record in the NBA. Royale Ivy at one guard spot, along with Joe Johnson, who leads the team in scoring and assists. Al Harrington at one forward spot, along with Josh Smith. And Zaza Pachulia, the man in the middle for second-year head coach here in Atlanta, Mike Woodson. Played under Bobby Knight at Indiana with the Hoosiers, a former teammate and very close friend of my close friend, Eddie Johnson. EJ and Woody were teammates with the Kings in KC and Sacramento, correct?
That's my guy.
That's your guy?
Not tonight.
Let's take a look at tonight's AutoZone matchup, brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Steve Nash, and who is this Royale Ivy?
I don't know.
Okay, there we go.
Why don't you tell me? But I do know that if he's in the lineup and he's getting the opportunity to play, then obviously he's really improved his game. I think they might look at him as a very good defender. So I think, it's difficult for Steve because, he probably doesn't know this guy as well. And Royal Ivy, I love your first name, but you have a long night ahead of you.
Roy Al, the emphasis on the Al part.
That's what he said?
Very important, like Tony Dorsett.
I'll just call him Mr. Ivy tonight.
Well, our matchup could have been Steve Nash and Chris Paul if Atlanta had decided to draft Chris Paul, who, of course, is the star point guard now with the Hornets, but yet they took Marvin Williams from North Carolina.
Yeah, and, a player that surprised me because I thought he was 6'10", Tom. And Marvin Williams is about, 6'7.5", 6'8", and really had a difficult time so far. But he's a young player, but they really like his upside.
They're actually getting more production out of another rookie, Salim Stoudemire, than they are from Marvin Williams here with the Atlanta Hawks. So, hey, let's go back to the situation with Al Harrington, unrestricted free agent. There's talk that they may try to move him before the trade deadline. But, Joe Johnson makes up his mind that, he's going to force the sign-and-trade deal with the Hawks, signing the $70 million deal. But will anybody follow Joe Johnson here to Atlanta?
Well, I think that's the big question there. And, Atlanta has a lot of things going for it. Very beautiful city. I think if this team starts to win, I think players around the league know that fans will come. I mean, they don't even come for the Atlanta Braves games, and they win their division every year. So it's a real fickle crowd, but, it's a great city to play in. And I think players will look at it, no doubt about it, but the winning aspect of it will be a negative. But also you look at the coaching. You look at a new coach, a coach that's innovative, a coach that wants to do different things. And Joe Johnson has to go out and earn his money off the court as well. He has to sell his franchise. They put the money in his pocket to be able to do that, and I'm sure they expect that from him.
$20 million in the first year here with the Hawks, second highest paid player to Shaquille O'Neal. So the Suns go back-to-back against the two highest-paid players in the league. Last night in Miami against Shaq, and here tonight against Joe Johnson and the Hawks. And I thought that was very curious timing to have Joe Johnson bobblehead night here against his former team. Hawks and Suns, though, if you open up the Atlanta Journal-Constitution sports section, you had to sift all the way back to page 7 of the sports section to find mention of tonight's game. Suns and Hawks. High school hoops earn more ink than these Hawks here in Atlanta.
Well, if you don't win, you have those situations. And, I understand it as well as anyone. I played in Kansas City in front of about 2,000 of my friends every night for a while. And Mike Woodson was on that team. So, and Larry Drew, the assistant coach for the Hawks as well. We were all three teammates. So, I mean, they understand that. But, I like to applaud the fans that do show up.
Yeah.
I mean, because, you know, they don't have to, and they seem to be very enthusiastic. And I noticed when the team came out, the Atlanta Hawks, they all got up and cheered. So, you know, it's just a gradual possession.
You know, it's the kind of crowd, too, where, you know, the cat calls will come out and they'll go, "Hey, Eddie!" And you turn around and go, "What?"
Yeah, I mean,
you can actually hold a conversation.
That
with
is the negative when you play in a small crowd, and that the heckler really stands out. And you just have to ignore it or play into it by having a good game and doing some good things out there, and then turn into the heckler and saying, "Yeah, take that."
Well, we applaud the crowd that has shown up, including former Sun Tom Gugliotta here in Atlanta tonight. There is Googs. How about the moppy-doo?
Well,
the former NBA player who says he is now retired for good from the league.
I think Tom is growing the hair because he's going to do the dreadlock deal like Brian Grant.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we heard Amari say that and kind of did a 180. Atlanta controlling the tap, and there is Royale Ivy from the outside. Harrington along the baseline. A couple quick fires by the Hawks, and another offensive rebound and third crack at it on the opening possession. This team will crash the glass, Eddie.
Yeah, they will, because they miss a lot of shots. And most teams, when they struggle from the field, they attack the offensive glass, and they have some guys that can play way above the rim.
Zaza Pachulia, who is posting up, second best in the league in offensive rebounding. It starts with a JJ jumper here tonight in Atlanta. Joe Johnson coming in averaging 19 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, leading the team in scoring, assists, steals, and minutes. So looks like they are getting their money's worth, at least in terms of the numbers from Joe, but certainly not in the amount of victories. Raja Bell matching JJ. First hoop for the Suns, and Raja throwing more darts. He has been so accurate with that shot.
So his confidence level is high. He's been given the green light to take the shot when it's there. And when you're in that situation, nothing but good will come out of it.
5 of 7 three-point shooting last night for Raja Bell. And there's the big shot by Joe Johnson, who has the first 5 points for the Hawks in the first meeting between these two teams in Phoenix. Suns led by as many as 37 points. Joe Johnson, though, led the way for Atlanta, had 23 back in that game in Phoenix. And again, the fans were on him from the opening tip to the final buzzer.
Yeah, they were, and I thought Joe handled it well, and that's something that he had to expect, because the fans were booing him really out of love and respect. And I say that because they miss him. You know, if they didn't, there's a lot of players that came back to play in Phoenix that was on the team, and the fans didn't even know that they were in Phoenix when they were there.
That is some strange love, but I do agree with you. The fans are just upset that he didn't return to the team that won 62 games last season. Atlanta is just crashing the offensive glass. Mike D'Antoni stood up and said, "Hey guys, get a rebound here sometime soon, would you?" 5-0 Atlanta on the boards.
Well, you look at the Atlanta Hawks team that they have out there, some big bodies. I mean, not only tall and athletic, but strong as well. And so the Suns really going to have to go to the fundamental part of getting down and blocking out.
Nash driving in for 2, 4 of the 5 rebounds for Atlanta on the offensive end here in the first 2 minutes of play. Harrington setting up Joe Johnson, defended by Raja Bell. Last night it was Dwayne Wade. Tonight it is Joe Johnson. Way too strong for 3 for Al Harrington, who's really improved his three-point shot this season.
Yeah, well, that big body, though, get in the paint. Please. I mean, leave that to the guys that can shoot. You know, because I tell you what, if a small guy went in the paint and took position underneath in front of Al Harrington, he'd tell him to get out of there. Well, I think about the same way behind the arc. Get from behind the arc.
That's what Royale Ivy should be telling you?
Yes.
Get out of there. There's Joe Johnson. This is a 2 in and out, rebounded by Kurt Thomas. Mentioned that he was bruised and battered after going toe-to-toe with Zoe and Shaq last night. Says his neck is hurting him. He got drilled in the thigh, and boy, he was like a medical ward walking onto the bus and the plane last night, but he still had a smile on his face and cherishing the victory over Miami. There is Kurt Thomas.
I asked him, I said, "I know you're going to be sore tomorrow." He said, "Yeah, I will, but you know, you really don't feel it's like a car wreck. You know, you don't feel the injury until the next day."
And he was feeling it today, you're right. Off the iron for Marion, the offensive rebound chased down by Boris Diaw, who actually started 25 games for the Hawks last season, his second year with Atlanta. Raja Bell rims out, and a rebound for Zaza Pachulia. So the Suns start out 2 of 6 shooting. Atlanta 2 of 9, make that 3 of 10. Josh Smith plugs it from the outside.
Once he really improves his jump shot, he's going to be tough because, you know, in the paint, the guy just virtually jumps over the top of anyone.
Doesn't take a whole lot of shots in a game. Kurt Thomas pumps it in from the outside. But you're right, Josh Smith has really been concentrating on the rebounding and the block shots. He's one of the top shot blockers right now in the NBA. Another player taken straight out of high school. Quick turn and feathery touch there for Joe Johnson.
Well, you know, Joe is a similar person to guard as Raja faced in Turkoglu the other night. I mean, you know, Raja's giving up a lot of weight to Joe Johnson and height. You know, Joe Johnson, people just don't understand. The guy weighs about 235, and Raja's probably, going maybe, barely over 200, 205, 210. That's a lot of weight to give up down low.
Harrington throws it away. You know, with this sparse crowd, we mentioned that when you come here to Phillips Arena, it almost feels like a scrimmage here between the two teams. Playing pretty loose. Yeah, maybe even a summer league game. 9-8 Atlanta, 7:45 and counting here in the first. Steve Nash has a couple of hoops. Joe Johnson 3 of 4 to start the game for Atlanta. Nash going deep for 3. And a rebound for Pachulia.
I think before the night's over, I think we're going to see some good things out of Pachulia. I mean, we had a chance to watch him all year. I mean, he is not a bad player inside.
Comes from the country of Georgia and now playing in the state of Georgia. And interesting, too, that the newest son, Nicholas Skidishvili, also from the country of Georgia. Boris Diaw, baseline, front iron. They have a few jitters here tonight, though seem very relaxed in the Suns locker room, talking to a number of Atlanta reporters. Inside, Ivy off the JJ feed.
The Atlanta Hawks have gotten off to good starts in the last few weeks against teams. They've had a tough time finishing, but the Suns don't want to have to try to come from behind against this team after playing a tough game last night.
From the outside, it's Nash once again for the Suns. He now has hit 3 shots here in the opening quarter, 6 points for the Suns. Joe Johnson has 7 for Atlanta. You're right, they've had some quality wins. They have only won 11 games, but one of the victories was over the San Antonio Spurs.
If you look back at their schedule, as Al Harrington knocks it down, they have lost about 8 or 9 games this year by less than, about 5 points. I mean, they have been in basketball games and have had some tough luck with calls down the stretch that have gotten them deep into this position.
Suns now have hit 4 of their last 6 shots, and one of the questions asked of Boris Diaw, why the improvement? You look like a different player now that you're with the Suns. And he said, well, one of the reasons, playing with Steve Nash.
True.
Some hot shooting here in the first quarter. Suns have hit 4 of their last 6. Atlanta 4 of their last 5. Hey, Suns fans, why cheer on an empty stomach? McDonald's dollar menu is a slam dunk with a big and tasty sandwich, sure to fill you up before the big game for just $1 at participating McDonald's. Here early, too, Atlanta out-rebounding the Suns 9-4, 4-1 on the offensive boards. Josh Childress checking in for Atlanta out of that timeout. Pretty spin move there by Zaza Pachulia.
If you look at their stats, I mean, compared to everyone else in the league, I mean, they're not that bad, Tom. I mean, they're 14th in the league in field goal percentage. You would think it would be a lot worse for their record, but they do make shots. It's not been an issue for them. It's been really their defense.
Boris Diaw powers it in for the hoop for the Suns. Back to a 1-point lead for Atlanta. Also in out of that timeout for the Hawks, Tyronn Lue. And going back to Pachulia, has put up some good numbers, averaging 11 points, 8 boards, has 12 double-doubles so far this season. Now running the offense through him there at the high post, and Tyronn Lue plugs it for his first hoop quickly off the Atlanta bench. Back to a 3-point edge for the Hawks. Nash wiggles free off the Kurt Thomas screen. Steve Nash, sensational shooting once again, taking 5 shots, hit 4, has 8 points.
Well, if he keeps getting them in the range where he's been so far, it's going to be a long night for anyone that guards him on the Atlanta Hawks roster.
Back-to-back outings for the Suns. Late game last night in Miami, and the funky release there by Josh Childress. Okay, shot doctor, break that one down.
You couldn't think of a better adjective for that one?
Funky.
Oh, that sounded like it was pretty cool.
And you don't think it is?
No.
No. I can't wait till he gets to the free throw line to really break it down for us. Over the top, the jumper by Raja Bell. But Josh Childress, a former #1 pick, now in his second year out of Stanford, was actually the 6th overall pick, taken a year ago by this Hawks team, and his number's pretty low here in his second season. I think they were expecting quite a bit more out of Josh Childress, who made the all-rookie second team last year in the NBA. Teron Lue, wide left, rebounded by Leandro Barbosa, who's out there now for the Suns. Scramble on the floor, and Lue saves it over to Joe Johnson.
Yeah, that was a tough pass by Leandro. I mean, Diaw was already under the basket. Bounce passes really don't get there with the quickness in the league. Guys can get to it in a hurry.
Crossover by JJ, help defense from Boris Diaw, but Joe Johnson still nails it. 4th hoop now for Joe Johnson, 9 points here in the opening quarter. Now on the chase of Nash. His pass hits Lue, back to Nash, and now Raja Bell. Behind the line for 3, misses everything.
Raja scratched his head, and he laughs, and that's what you need to do. I mean, because, the one thing I tell young guys, Tom, is when you go up to shoot and you make a shot, just act like you know what you're doing. A lot of young guys, they want to pound their chests and point to the fans and let everybody know it's a surprise. Well, you're supposed to just go back down like you're supposed to make it. And it's okay to laugh at yourself when you do that instead of trying to rub your hands or look up at the sky like the wind was blowing.
And laughing right alongside, too, his good friend Steve Nash. They go for the lob, and Josh Childress, and here comes Nash and the Suns. Hands it off to Boris Diaw, bucket and one right down Main Street for 3D. Nice little flip pass there from Mr. Nash.
Well, Boris just running right down the middle, and he slowed his tempo because he was ahead of Steve Nash. Steve caught him in his side view mirror and just got it to Boris right in rhythm.
3-point play for Boris Diaw. Again, commenting on his turnaround this season with the Suns, saying, of course, playing with Steve Nash and also the philosophy and system under Mike D'Antoni. You saw both right there. The Suns on the run, opening up the court. Nash feeding Boris Diaw, and the lead is now 2. JJ fires over 3D and hits once again. Joe Johnson lighting it up here in the opening quarter against his former team.
You had to know that he was going to come focused. And so, but that's how it is when you play your old team.
Diaw looking for Raja Bell, who is headed the opposite direction. Turnover Suns. That's their second, 2 also for the Hawks here in the opening quarter. Atlanta now has hit 9 of their last 11. And, talking about the trend of the Suns letting down against lesser opponents, when they let down, usually it's on the defensive end.
Yeah, and it can't happen against the Hawks because, as I stated, I mean, they're a pretty good shooting basketball team. And if you allow them to get great looks, then they can run up a lot of points. So it's not like, they're going to struggle for points if you give them those opportunities. And I think the Suns have to really be worried about that.
Orlando shot 54% from the field. That Suns loss to start this road trip. And right now, Atlanta shooting at a 55% clip here in the opening quarter. 3 minutes to go. Harrington one-on-one with Sean Marion. Nash shows a little help defense. Marion trying to poke it away. Harrington steps back, tipping over the top the rookie Marvin Williams. Finally rebounded. Here comes Barbosa, and the Suns to his right as wingman was Marion. Throws it underneath the hoop. Caught the underside of the board, and it's a turnover against the Suns. We have a timeout, 2:45 to go here in the first quarter. Joe Johnson putting on an early show. Eddie Johnson.
Difficult guy to guard inside on the perimeter. He dances a little bit on Boris and then dances right in the rim.
With director Dan Siekman, producer Bob Adlock, Tom Leander, and Eddie Johnson back with you from Phillips Arena in Atlanta. Hawks leading by 4. Time to check the Banner Health injury report. And it's Jermaine O'Neal of the Indiana Pacers, Eddie, expected to miss up to 2 months with a groin injury. So maybe a little more pressure on the newest Pacer, Peja Stojakovic.
They're not going to win this year. I mean, I just think their season was destroyed when Ron Artest started acting up. They lost Jonathan Bender. He had to retire. They really had him in their plans as well. And the deep, talented team that we thought before the season was going to be really good. But now with O'Neal out, they're going to be tough.
Flying midair, crashing in for the hoop. Count the bucket for the rookie Marvin Williams, and he'll head to the line. The foul there on James Jones. Pretty move take another look at it and want to follow up on the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, well, just a good cut of the basketball, an excellent pass by Al Harrington. And talking about Marvin Williams, sometimes we tend to jump on a guy because he's had success right away, and that's Chris Paul. But the one thing about the NBA is how you play the second time around. And Marvin Williams hasn't gotten the consistent minutes. But they still really like what he's going to evolve into here in Atlanta. They just think we should be patient with him.
Good look on the shot by Nash, a little too strong. And Marvin Williams spent only one season at North Carolina, one season and a title with the Tar Heels, and actually came off the bench for North Carolina last season. Tyronn Lue sticks it with the bank shot in Atlanta on an 11-3 run. Going back to Ron Artest quickly, so you say their season was destroyed when he asked for the trade, was put on the inactive list, suspended by the team for the second year in a row.
Yeah,
exactly.
For the second year in a row, he basically, as an individual, destroyed the team. And now with their injuries and just all the things that have gone on in that organization, you just can't expect the players to go out and just play at a level that you thought before the season. And now with O'Neal, their best player out, I just can't see it happening.
That's a sad, sad scenario for Pacer fans. Some of the most passionate in the league. Suns are trailing by 9 here in the first quarter, under a minute and a half to go in the period. Marion for 3. Oh, halfway in and then pops out. Rebounded by Childress.
Those are some soft rims, too. My kind of rims.
Suns start out 0 of 5 from three-point range, and there's the big shot for Tyronn Lue. Second three-pointer for the Hawks here in the opening period. One from J.J. and one from Lue. The lead is now 12 for the 11-29 Atlanta Hawks, who are on a 14-3 run.
As I stated, I said this team has come out the last few weeks, and they have played extremely well in the first half. They have kicked themselves a couple of times late in the fourth quarters of games, not coming out at half, but they're very competitive. They play hard, and the Suns have to realize that. Take
Nash out of the equation. The Suns are really hurt. Down by 10 now. Nash has 10 points for Phoenix. Joe Johnson comes up short. Loose ball on the floor, and here comes Nash. 30 seconds to go here in the opening quarter. Suns could use a hoop heading to that second period. Ball is tapped and retrieved finally by Raja Bell. 15 on the shot clock. Marvin Williams now tracking Nash. Jab step into the lane, turns, no look, flips it up. Oh! Beautiful shot, just wouldn't fall. Head fake, Nash, finger roll. That one rolls off. Marion going after the offensive rebound, and a loose ball foul on Atlanta. Couple of beautiful attempts by Nash, just rolled off.
And Marvin Williams was scared to death when he had to guard. I mean, he switched off. Joe Johnson told him to switch off, and the look on his face, he's like, oh my God. And I can understand why, because he just basically toyed with him.
Couple of globetrotter moves there by Steve Nash. Tough break that neither would drop, and Suns will have it on the side. 9.3 to go here in the quarter. Salim Stoudemire, the former U of A Wildcat, has checked in now for Atlanta. Lue runs into a Marion screen. Marion rolls, hacked, puts it up, and will head to the line with 3.2 to go here in the first quarter. Talked about the Atlanta Hawks and their quality wins over Indiana, the Spurs, and even the Cavaliers, as Nash sets up Marion beautifully there in the lane.
Yeah, he does it off the dribble. I mean, not many guards can have control of the ball when they reverse their dribble, they go behind their back. I mean, he's basically, the ball is like stuck to his hand. I mean, unbelievable. His ball handling ability is second to none.
Nash now averaging nearly 12 assists per game. 1 of 2 at the line for Sean Marion, who does not have a field goal for the Suns here in the first quarter. Final seconds for Tyronn Lue, chased by Raja Bell from midcourt, and we're done with 1 here in Atlanta. It was all about Joe Johnson and the Hawks, who shoot 52% from the field. J.J., the ex-Sun, with 11 here in the period. Suns led by Steve Nash's 10. Headed to the second quarter here from Phillips Arena in Atlanta. You are watching Phoenix Suns basketball on Channel 45. Hawks leading the Suns 31-22. Start of the second quarter here in Atlanta. Hawks leading the Suns 31-22. Atlanta receiving 12 points from their bench, 7 from Tyronn Lue. Suns did not get a bench point at all in the opening period. Start the second with Raja Bell, Boris Diaw, Eddie House, Leandro Barbosa, and James Jones, the 5 on the floor. Eddie House, quick shot, off the glass, tips it in himself.
Got the nice rebound. Nice way to get yourself in the groove.
Did not hit a shot last night in Miami against his former team, the Heat. May have been a little over-amped for that game in Miami. And he is an amplified type of personality and player out there on the court.
Yeah, he is. And you know, he understands with Leandro back in the lineup, his minutes have changed a little bit. And you know, coach is going to need good efforts from Leandro, and James Jones. And whoever has it going is probably going to get the most minutes at the time. And James Jones was the guy last night.
Bursting in, Leandro Barbosa. You're right, Junior had that big second quarter when he scored 17 for the Suns against the Miami Heat, on their way to building a 21-point lead in the first half. And after the game, Pat Riley saying, we just don't have an answer defensively for a team like the Phoenix Suns. Ball goes out of bounds with Atlanta leading by 5. Biggest lead has been 12, but the Suns now on a 7-0 run, and back comes Joe Johnson for Mike Woodson and the Hawks.
You can expect Joe to play a lot of minutes. I'd be surprised if he doesn't play less than 42 minutes in this ball game. He wants to be out there on the floor.
Had 11 in the first quarter. His career high came this season when he had 36 against the Knicks as the shot clock explodes on the Hawks.
Yeah, when that happens, and you know, a lot of people tend to say, well, Joe Johnson should have known. No, his teammates should know because they're on the weak side. They're not doing anything. They're looking at the shot clock. That's when you have to scream out, holler out, and say, shoot the basketball. And he was close to his bench as well.
A couple of quick turnovers. The quickness of Barbosa and tipping at the cup, Boris Diaw. Boris very strong here in the first half against his former team. 4 of 5 from the field now for Diaw, 9 points. It's a 3-point ball game. Suns now on a 9-0 push. Atlanta has not scored here yet in the second quarter. +6 for the Suns in the paint. Joe Johnson in the paint himself. Nowhere to go. Bails out now to Josh Smith. 2, 1 on the clock. Smith too strong, doesn't hit the iron. And for the second possession here in the quarter, the shot clock blows up on the Hawks.
And that's what we've seen with the Atlanta Hawks. Is they come out and they look like a team that can contend for the whole game, and then all of a sudden they just start to melt down.
Barbosa kills the dribble, gives it out now to Eddie House. Posting up Boris Diaw, and it goes out of bounds. Stoudemire thought it went off of Diaw. Suns will have it with 12 seconds on the shot clock. There is Salim Stoudemire, the rookie from Arizona, 5th among rookies in scoring this season, even ahead of his teammate Marvin Williams. You're right, he is a lot like Eddie House, a howitzer. Too strong for House, and here comes Tyronn Lue. He was 3 of 4 shooting in that first quarter. Moving screen on Josh Smith as Barbosa banged right into that Smith screen, and they'll give it to the Suns.
Yeah, a lot of times when the player setting the screen gets the foul, it's because the guy with the dribble wouldn't wait for him to get set.
You may remember the first meeting between these two teams, Josh Smith was ejected. They're hammering Boris Diaw and then flipping the ball over to Raja Bell. Very volatile player there, Josh Smith, ejected for the flagrant 2 penalty foul against Raja Bell in Phoenix.
Yeah, threw an elbow that didn't hit home, but still got suspended for it. But Boris, again, you know, you give him the left or right, doesn't matter. He can get it on the floor and get to the rim.
Ended up being suspended 2 games by the NBA, did Josh Smith, as Diaw misses the first free throw. He is a high flyer, slam dunk contest winner, 3rd Atlanta Hawks slam dunk champion, along with Dominique Wilkins and Spud Webb.
Yeah, you would think that would have elevated his thought process, but it really hasn't. He's still been slow to develop. A guy that they really expected to be a major part of this organization.
Atlanta, 4 turnovers here in the second quarter already. Back iron for Josh Smith, rebound to Barbosa. Here come the Suns on the run. Eddie House from Barbosa, straight and sweep for 3. In the zone with AutoZone, $100 to Phoenix Suns Charities. It's the first made 3-pointer in 6 attempts by the Suns here tonight, and they take the lead.
That quickly.
Down by 12, now up by 1. And the Atlanta Hawks still have not scored here in the second quarter. They have hit a big-time drought. Here come the Suns. They smell blood. Eddie House, this one's short. The air ball by House, but that won't deter him anytime soon. 13-0 run by the Suns.
Yeah, and that's enough to get him back in it. No doubt. He gives me 5.
And a high five to EJ in the way by.
He wants a little dap. He's trying to get that stroke back together, but don't worry about it. You know he's going to come back and take 2 more in a row.
From one shooter to another. Cal Ripken Jr. here at Phillips Arena, in town for a baseball coaching clinic. 32-31. Suns have taken the lead here in the second quarter. This day in NBA history, presented by Paddock Pools, Patios, and Spas. Since 1958, we're all your backyard needs. January 27th, 1982, Jeff Houston of Cleveland handed out a club record 27 assists in a 4-point win over the Warriors. At the time, it was the 4th highest assist total in NBA history. Of course, Scott Skiles still holds the mark. The 30 assists he had for the Orlando Magic when he was teamed up with Shaquille O'Neal. Another turnover, number 5 for the Hawks here in the second quarter. They still have not scored in the period, leading by 9, and a hold and a foul called by Joey Crawford. Our officials tonight, Crawford, Phil Robinson, and Jason Phillips.
I mean, how would you want to run out on the court and have to guard this guy? I mean, he just is dancing with the ball.
Cracking some serious ankles there for Barbosa. We saw that hesitation move that he had last night in the corner against the Miami Heat. And he is just very difficult to stalk. Right now, giving it a try is Al Harrington, looking him back up on Barbosa. Takes it into the lane, feeds it out to Diaw. Diaw with 10 points so far here early. And shot clock violation. That ball did not hit the rim.
You know, I mean, both teams really failing to recognize the shot clock and having to rush. You catch the ball with 3-4 seconds, you have to go right away. And, you know, one of the things I used to do as a player, I would always try to count down in my head, and then once I got it, I'd give a quick glance to the shot clock. And sometimes you look down the other end of the court, not at your basket.
Atlanta needs some sort of a solution here in the second quarter. Harrington drops the shoulder on Diaw and draws the foul on Boris, and to the line will go Al Harrington. Suns did not have any bench points in that first quarter. They've gotten 7 already here in the second period.
Well, Al Harrington, again, is the guy, he and Joe Johnson, they're going to go to a tremendous amount in this game. And, you know, and again, that's what the Suns have to worry about, because although the Suns have gotten back into the basketball game, I think the Hawks are still feeling good about themselves and that they can score and they can get some things done. And so the Suns really have to start to concentrate, especially on Joe Johnson and Al Harrington.
First 2 points of the quarter here at the 7:36 mark. 2 free throws by Harrington, and the Hawks back on top, 33-32. Had the 31 points in the opening period. Diaw covered now by Stoudemire. Rises up in the lane, flips it up, and then tips it in. Boris Diaw crashing the glass.
You know, Stoudemire is going to switch out on him. He needs to destroy him every time. You know, just don't even look to pass. Take the mouse down inside.
Inside the house, and now Diaw with a dozen up ahead. It's 3D. Backing down on Joe Johnson. Finds James Jones. Foot was on the line. Rims out. Rebounded by Josh Childress. He hands it off to Joe Johnson, who had the 11 early points. Hasn't scored since. Salim Stoudemire led the NCAA in 3-point shooting last season at U of A. Hits the big shot there. 2-point lead for the Hawks to the 10th floor. Goes 3D.
You see that pass by Eddie House? Tell me that's not Steve Nash. I mean, you know, Eddie House sitting over there and he watches it.
He got a little hard dap right there. Yeah. He got a little high five on the way by and then said, ooh, a little too hard.
Who hit him?
Tied at 36. I think it was Boris for taking the feed. Harrington in a crowd. Pump fake and the finish for Al Harrington. A very powerful player, and will be highly coveted as an unrestricted free agent this summer. Eddie House taking it right down into the gut of the defense.
You know, some issues there with Eddie House and Salim Stoudemire.
Well, you got a Wildcat, you got a Devil.
That's right.
That's a big issue right there.
That's the issue I'm talking about.
Okay. And again, very similar style, adding spark off the bench. Childress was bumped there, trying to follow at the cup. So it's got a break. Here comes Diaw blasting in. Bucket and one for Boris Diaw, who hits the wood. Right past Al Harrington. Boris Diaw has 16 points here in the first half against his former team.
Boris Diaw is sending a precise and sincere message, Tom Leander. He sent that one to Al Harrington, up and in.
Boris Diaw putting on a show here in the second quarter. Now you have 135 million reasons to play Powerball. Saturday's jackpot an estimated $135 million. Get your tickets today, and don't forget to check for the winning numbers at ArizonaLottery.com. Now it's time for tonight's Powerball Power Play. If there's been one knock on 3D, is that he doesn't finish strongly enough.
Well, yeah, and that has been the knock, but right here, and especially in this game, a couple of times he has finished strong. And again, he's a young player. And I think when you say these things, you're saying, hoping he listens and hoping he's being taught, and I know he is, and he can evolve into it. But once he does, he's going to be very difficult to guard.
Yeah, he is a finesse player, and you really have to value his style of play. There is Salim Stoudemire with another three-pointer off the Hawks bench. Going back to Boris Diaw and talking to reporters here before the game in Atlanta, says he's not surprised at his success with the Suns. He's only surprised at how quickly it's happened with his new team. Barbosa, no look, flipping it up, and nearly went in.
Look at him, he's having a good time. You know when you're winning and things are going good is when you're smiling and you're laughing with your bench, and the bench is clapping for you and appreciating the move, and that's what the Suns have right now. That would have been highlight material.
Man,
there.
Number of circus shots. We saw back-to-back attempts from Steve Nash, and there is Leandro Barbosa, and that is why the Phoenix Suns are the most exciting team to watch in the NBA. That's not just comments coming from the broadcasters here, but fans as you pass by and listen to what they say as we go from city to city.
They're very exciting. I mean, I would pay to watch them. There's not many teams I would pay to watch. And I guarantee you, Detroit and San Antonio, they're probably the best two teams in the league. I don't know if I want to watch them play.
Eddie, you do pay to watch the Suns. I know you've got at least 2 seats. How many seats? You had 4 at one point.
I don't sit there. Pay for somebody else to watch them.
Explain that one to me.
Well, family.
Business associates. 42-41, Harrington with the left hand tipping there at the glass. Joe Johnson was there along with Josh Childress. The hoop to Joe Johnson. He now has 13. That's his first hoop here in the second quarter. Hawks back up by 1. 5 minutes to go until halftime. Diaw in the lane, fades, back iron. Diaw 17 points so far here tonight. Of course, his career high, the 31 that he had in Minnesota against the Wolves on a road trip.
And Joe Johnson got matched up there, and right now, Boris is a +4 on Joe Johnson.
Crossing over, Joe Johnson going up against Boris Diaw, part of that sign and trade deal. The Suns picking up a couple of conditional first-round picks, some salary cap relief, and also Boris Diaw plugging it from the outside. Eddie House for 2. Back come the Hawks, they turn it over. Eddie House, 2 defenders ahead, doesn't matter. He'll attack, get it over Barbosa. Sent out by Childress.
Yeah, I mean, they were all there. And again, the Hawks are athletic now. They can go get your shot attempt.
Harrington along the baseline. Fires in the face of James Jones. Gets the offensive rebound. His own miss. Back to the glass, and here come the Suns. 3-on-2. House over to Junior. It's straight and sweep for James Jones. 2-pointer. And it's a 2-point lead for Phoenix.
Suns have found that shooting. It's gone for a little bit now. Everyone's getting into a rhythm, and Eddie House has done an excellent job not only of scoring, but passing the basketball and pushing it up the floor.
And James Jones, we talked about his scoring last night. 20 points, 17 in the second quarter. Also had 6 rebounds. Absolutely for 3, it's Eddie House. Perking up here in the second quarter. Eddie House now with the dozen. 5 of 8 shooting for Eddie House. All 12 of his points here in the second period.
And you know what? It came from that dap I gave him. Give me my credit, please, okay? He slapped my hand after the air ball, and now he can't miss. The defender got back too far. They said, you won't raise up from there. They don't know Eddie House.
The dap. There he is. Well, I'm not sure if it was your dap or Boris Diaw's. Remember on the way by when he slapped him nice and... All right, now it is a full, so we will take it here from Atlanta.
All right, fans, it's time for part 2 of the Built for Love or Love Electronics presented by
49-45, an early house call from Eddie, who has 12 points here in the second quarter. Time now for Bud Light's What's on Tap, presented by Refreshingly Smooth Bud Light. Always worth it. When the Suns return home from this 6-game road swing, it will be the Bulls, the Wolves, and their new player Ricky Davis, and the Memphis Grizzlies at U.S. Airways Center. Eddie House, the Suns have hit 2 3-pointers here in the first half, both of them from Eddie House.
And deep. I mean, in the rhythm. You know, what you notice about Eddie House is his quick release, which gives him great confidence because he doesn't give himself a chance to think about the shot. You know, a lot of players want to jump up and they kind of squeeze the ball time at the top of their jump, and it's a slow release. Well, you're giving yourself too much time to think about it. When you just go up mechanically correct and just let it go right away, you have much more success on the result than you do the other way around.
And again, Eddie House saying his favorite spot on the floor when he first steps on the court and checks into the game,
That's
wherever
exactly
that might
right.
be. 4-point lead for the Suns. Joe Johnson pressured there by Boris Diaw, and Nash tips it over to Marion. Eddie gives it up now to Nash to bring it into the attacking zone. Atlanta now has hit only 5 of their last 19 shots. The Suns, 7 of 10. Good look for James Jones. Good shot. Wide open. Suns now shooting 50% from the field.
Yeah, they've really gotten anything that they've wanted after the start of this quarter. I mean, the Hawks defensively have really let down after having a pretty good first quarter.
Yeah, when they led by a dozen inside Childress. Ball tipped out of there, and there's Nash. That's a perfect example how the Suns don't have to have a Kurt Thomas on the floor. They have some athletes, and they can scramble for those rebounds. Taken away by the smallest man on the floor now, Tyronn Lue. The Suns on a 9-0 run here at the latter stages of the second quarter.
And the Hawks still can feel good about the fact that, you know, they're in against a quality team. They're not down by much, and they're trying to slow the tempo down a little bit to get them a good look.
Lue drops it back down to Harrington. Fades, comes up short, and a rebound to Eddie House. Hawks come in averaging 95 points per game. They give up 101 points per game and allow their opponent to shoot 48% from the field. House along the baseline, couldn't spin it in, and here comes Josh Childress.
Yeah, probably should have used the rim against Joe Johnson. Eddie, if he'd have gone underneath, would have got a better look.
Ooh, how about the range from the rookie, Marvin Williams? Plugs the three-pointer. And now Atlanta here in the first half, they have hit 5 of their 9 three-point attempts. Nash had 10 points in the opening quarter, still with the 10. Marion above the iron, tipping it home, cleaning up his own mess. That is the first field goal tonight for Shawn Marion.
If you get in the mind of Shawn Marion, he knew if he missed that shot, he would get up there and get the next rebound, and that's the beauty of his game.
3 rebounds for Marion. Both teams with 22 boards here in the first half, and Eddie House bludgeons Tyronn Lue in the lane. He'll head to the line with his Hawks trailing by 5. And Josh Smith ready to check back in for Atlanta.
Again, Suns recognized Shawn Marion had an advantage down low, and then Shawn just threw it up there and understood that no way Tyronn Lue was going to get the rebound.
Shawn Marion, #1 in the NBA in points in the paint per game. He averages 22 points per game, 13 of those coming in the paint. Not very surprising.
No, the surprising one is Tony Parker. I mean, when you have a point guard that's scoring like he is in the paint, then it's surprising. But the way Shawn Marion has played and the fact that they don't run a lot of plays for him and he gets a lot of offensive rebounds, it's not a major surprise.
Tyronn Lue won a couple of NBA titles with the LA Lakers, makes it now a 3-point game, and Joey Crawford says, hold on here. With a minute 7 to go, something was on the floor, and the Suns will have possession. The Suns coming into this game 27-15, Eddie Johnson. First place still in the Pacific Division. 2.5 up on the Clippers. They have the 3rd best record in the Western Conference, behind the Spurs and the Mavs, and they have the 4th best record overall in the NBA when you throw in the Detroit Pistons and their 35-5 mark.
Yeah, well, who would have thought it? You know, and you look at some of the games the Suns have actually thrown away in their minds. Orlando, you know, Seattle at home. Sacramento. I mean, so they've lost some games that they would love to take back, but even with those losses, they have been unbelievable.
What a coaching job by Mike D'Antoni. Eddie House, little floater in the lane. Look at him scrap for the offensive rebound and then throw it off of Josh Smith. The hustle from House.
Well, you know, that's one part of his game. I mean, this kid hustles as soon as he steps on the floor. And so we know that. And when you do hustle, for young players that watch, good things happen. You know, when you work hard, good things happen.
You guys have been having an ongoing conversation this entire first half. What was said in that last exchange? Came over after that timeout.
Well, he said the three that I knocked down before that break is what I wanted to do before, but I shot it flat. I said, yeah. You did, but I shot something flat as well.
You two have had a very close relationship going back to his days at ASU when you were broadcasting for the Sun Devils.
Yeah, you know, I worked them out before the draft and just tried to get them in tune with some things that would be expected of them, and just to let them know that although they viewed you as a tweener, meaning, you know, a guy that has point guard size but is probably going to have to play a two guard. And I just told him, I said, you know, the league is always short of shooters, guys that can score, and if you just work hard and show them that you can flat out shoot the basketball, you don't have to worry about ever finding a job for a while.
Playing for his fourth NBA team in the last 2 years with 3 different squads last season. Marion at the line, now giving the Suns the lead. 55-50 here with 40 seconds to go until halftime. The Hawks come in 8-13 here at home. They lost their first 9 games of this season. Ron Lue from the outside, rebound. Diaw chases it down, goes behind the back, and James Jones scoops it up. 5 seconds separating the game clock from the shot clock. Boris Diaw back here in Atlanta, where he was the Hawks' first-round draft pick in 2003, 21st overall selection. Diaw with 17 points, leading all scorers. Marion rising up, ripping the cord. Sean Marion. Final seconds of the first half. Here comes Lue. Drives to his right, gets to the lane. Could not finish. And it is halftime here in Atlanta. The Suns were down by 12 in the first quarter and then rallied big time in the second period, led by Diaw and Eddie House. House with 12 off the bench. Diaw has the 17. Joe Johnson leading the way for the Hawks with 15, and we'll hand it off to Kevin Ray and Tom Chambers back in Phoenix with the Verizon Wireless halftime report. Back here in Atlanta, Tom Leander along with Eddie Johnson. Hawks outscored the Suns 31-22 in the opening quarter. The Suns roar back and outscore the Hawks 35-19 in the second and lead by 7 here at halftime. And before the game, Boris Diaw was talking about the situation the past 2 years with the Hawks, Eddie Johnson, and he actually asked Mike Woodson and the Atlanta Hawks to trade him, saying no hard feelings, no bitterness. He just knew his skills didn't fit here with the Hawks.
Yeah, and talking to Mike Woodson, he understood it, and he said he would try his best to move him. But, you know, in saying that, he did say that, you know, to me this summer before Boris got there, that you all will like a lot of things that he does, and boy, do we do.
He said he wasn't overly motivated against his former team, but he sure looked like it. Was 17 points in the first half. Let's take a look at the winners board, brought to you by Gila River Casinos, where the winners play. And we'll start with Boris and the Suns. 7 of 11 shooting for 3D. Eddie House, 12 in the second quarter, has the Suns only 2 3-pointers here in the half. Steve Nash, all his damage with the points, 10 in the first quarter.
Yeah, but the key again is what the Suns got last night with James Jones, I thought, with Eddie House coming off the bench. You know, because Diaw basically took points that Sean Marion would get. So we got 2 players in the starting lineup that got it done, but the guy off the bench in Eddie House was huge, especially in the second quarter when the Suns really picked up their effort. And for the Atlanta Hawks, you know, Joe Johnson came out blazing, you know, came out very effective offensively. Looked like he was going to have a 30-point half the way he took off, but he kind of leveled off a little bit. Tyronn Lue came off of the bench and gave them the sort of lift that Eddie House gave the Suns. And Al Harrington's been a little quiet, 2 of 10 from the field. So a good defensive job on Al Harrington. I think the Suns will have an easy second half if they can continue to keep Harrington struggling, because he's the guy that gets most of their in-close points, which is going to elevate their field goal percentage, because first quarter they shot 51%. After that, 6 of 22 from the field in the second quarter. Now they're shooting 40.
And remember how Harrington struggled against the Suns back in Phoenix, just 1 of 8 from the field. 1 of 8 in Phoenix, 2 of 10 so far here in the first half. Going back to Boris Diaw, too, Mike D'Antoni was speaking about Boris and his skills, and he made a pretty amazing comment when asked about Boris Diaw. He said, Boris could be one of the top players in the NBA soon, without a doubt.
Could be, because, you know, he's a stat stuffer. You know, he's sort of like a LeBron James guy where, you know, he's not going to score the 30 like LeBron does, but he can get you a number of points. He can get you 10 rebounds. He can get you about, you know, 8 to 10 assists. And so when you have a guy that's able to do that, and then block shots for you as well. So when you have a guy that can spread his game out across the stat column, then you can live with him on the court. You know, even if he's missing shots, you know that he's going to give you other intangibles that can help your team win. And that in itself will elevate you to a top-notch player. And
a favorite of his teammates because of his unselfishness. Suns bench 19 points in the first half, 12 from House. Atlanta received 23 off the Pine, 9 from Tyronn Lue. And take a look at the sparse crowd here at Phillips Arena. And again, you think about Joe Johnson and his decision. Well, you go back to Joe Johnson. Last season with the Suns, 10 losses during the entire regular season with Phoenix. He picked up his 10th loss here with the Hawks in their 12th game. 29 already in the loss department for Joe Johnson and the Hawks. He knew he was going to require some patience.
And even that time, I mean, just look at the stats. I mean, last year, you know, as Raja knocks one down, last year behind the arc, he was, what, over 40% from the three-point line. He's only 34 here with the Hawks. I mean, shooting 45% from the field. And so you see, when you don't have the type of players around you as he did last year, your numbers tend to suffer.
You're right, and there seems to be a trend. Before he played alongside Steve Nash, as Mike D'Antoni over there talking right now to Joe Johnson, still with a very nice relationship. He was talking to Leandro Barbosa before the game down in the hallway, but before JJ hooked up with Steve Nash, he was shooting 30% from three-point range. Of course, then led the NBA in three-point percentage last year, 48%. And now, like you said, back down to 34. I see a trend there with and without Steve Nash.
Well, look at Quentin Richardson in New York. He can't even see the rim.
I thought he was going to enjoy the bruising play there in the Eastern Conference.
That's what he thought.
Joe Johnson wide right on the 3 attempt. Zaza Pachulia could not finish, and then goes chest to chest there with Kurt Thomas and a foul on Zaza Pachulia. That's his first. Had just 2 points and 3 rebounds in the first half. Did Zaza as the starting center for the Hawks.
Yeah, didn't do much at all for him, and more aggressive than what I've seen tonight. But we got a half to go.
They gave Zaza a pretty lucrative free agent contract. First season in Orlando with the Magic, and then last year in Milwaukee. Nash, his pass, batted out of there by Pachulia. Still loose on the floor, scooped up by Kurt Thomas. 20 on the shot clock. Marion for 3 in the corner. Couldn't get it. And high above the crowd for the rebound, Josh Smith. Still just 20 years of age. Leads this team in block shots. The ball goes out of bounds off of Raja Bell. There is Josh Smith, actually 11th right now in the NBA in block shots. And Eddie, be careful, because he said once his career is over, he sees a future as a sports broadcaster. Lobs it in to Joe Johnson.
About time he's ready to do broadcasting, Tom.
You'll be retired and playing golf every day.
Yeah, I'm not worried.
Aren't you playing golf every day already?
No.
Bob Adlock, our partner out there at Doral, had a nice comment, so it didn't look like it.
Well, of course, when I'm playing with midget clubs.
I knew you were going to get that in. Pachulia, right-handed bank shot, and it's a 5-point lead.
And nothing against midgets.
Thank you for politically correcting that statement. Kurt Thomas inside, so Zaza with a hook, and then Kurt Thomas comes right back for Phoenix. 7-point lead for the Suns, 2 minutes deep here in the third quarter. Suns will head for Cleveland after this game here tonight. Take on the Cavaliers, a game that could be seen on ABC on Sunday. Roy Ivey pumps it in from the outside. Second field goal for Ivey.
Ivy's trying to extend his minutes. Tyronn Lue came in early in the first quarter and really didn't allow him to get back in. So he's trying to make a couple of shots here.
Clunker from the outside there by Boris Diaw. Suns lead is 5. They're impressed with Ivey. He's their starter. Doesn't play a whole lot of minutes, but in the last 23 games, Ivey's only turned the ball over 5 times. You know why? because usually the ball's in the hand of Joe Johnson.
That's why.
Josh Smith rising up, fouled there by Kurt Thomas. And that is the first personal foul now on Kurt Thomas.
You know, you look at this game and you say, man, why don't more teams try to attack the Suns on offensive glass? Well, you know, the problem is most teams are tired because they're running down the court trying to find the spot-up players for the Suns. But that's why the Suns can't afford to get in a walk-it-up type of contest, because now it's counterproductive. The Hawks are a very big team, and they're physical inside. They're really crashing the glass on the Suns. Suns have to be more collective in their effort to get the rebound.
We talked about how Josh Smith was ejected from the game, the first matchup between these two teams, December 4th back in Phoenix. Zaza Pachulia was also ejected from that game. Very frustrating evening for the Hawks when they fell down by 37 points heading to the fourth quarter. Diaw looking to lob it up, but that wasn't Sean Marion, that was Kurt Thomas.
Yeah, it kind of slipped out of his hand as well.
Inside, Ivy dips in underneath Steve Nash, and we have a 1-point game.
Yeah, and Ivy's strong. I mean, he went in there very physical-like.
10-2, Hawks run to pull within 1. Suns' biggest lead was 9. Hawks led by as many as a dozen in the first quarter. Nash, unbelievable pass there to Kurt Thomas.
How did he know? I mean, you know, how did he know? I mean, he's trying to get control of the ball, but he yet knew where Kurt Thomas was.
Yet another tasty dish from Steve Nash, who now has 5 assists here in the game, but he still hasn't scored since the opening quarter. Joe Johnson into the corner. Harrington under pressure. Bad-looking shot. Pachulia with the rebound over the top of Kurt Thomas. Now feeds Harrington in a crowd, ambushed and fouled. Marion was there. Kurt Thomas was there. It's Marion picking up the personal.
Steve Nash really lost control of the basketball inside, but again, understanding where his teammates are and not just being happy that he got control of the ball, but trying to make someone else an easy opportunity. You know, Al Harrington, I don't get it. I mean, you know, you're a big body. You know, why are you shooting threes? I mean, I just don't get it. I don't get it, Tom. You know, and you know what?
I can't help you.
And the problem, and you know, the scary thing is the guy's shooting 39% from three. But yet you have a big body. You're strong. You're inside. Get inside and get to the line and have a physical presence.
He's a very interesting story, too, as he struggled from the field here, 2 of 12. But he was actually drafted by the Indiana Pacers, whose general manager at the time was Billy Knight. Billy Knight now the GM here in Atlanta with the Hawks. Raja Bell from the outside, front iron, boarded by Pachulia. It's a +7 in the rebounding department now for the Hawks, who trail the Suns by 1. Josh Smith rising up over the top of Boris Diaw, and the Hawks retake the lead. 4 minutes deep here into the third quarter on a 14-4 run. Thomas finds Boris Diaw, quick release inside, flips it in off the dish from Kurt Thomas.
You know, if the Suns are reacting to the quick jumping ability of the Hawks. I mean, Boris caught that and put it up and in a hurry, and Josh Smith almost got to it.
Diaw now with 19 points to lead all scorers. Joe Johnson has 17 and shoots up the air ball. Joe Johnson now 8 of 16 shooting. Nash, big shot attempt wide left. Atlanta all over the defensive boards.
Yeah, they are. And they have been dominant, I think, in that area in terms of just clearing space and getting that opportunity.
There has been improvement in this Hawks team. You talked about how competitive they've been, even in their losses. This team started 2-16 this season. Since that time, 9-13. Not so bad. Foul in the backcourt on Zaza Pachulia, trying to knock it away from Steve Nash. Second personal foul on Pachulia.
Zaza has been Zaza tonight.
What? Okay.
I mean, he really,
I think you're speaking Georgian.
Yeah, he really has.
They understand you there in the country of Georgia. The only guy that understood you, Nicholas Skeetishvili, who might be listening back in Phoenix, who's also from Georgia. And Mike D'Antoni was saying that Skeetishvili actually tweaked his knee as a bit of a knee injury. Was acquired by the Phoenix Suns yesterday in that deal with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Suns giving up a second-round pick for Skeetishvili. And apparently he had his physical today in Phoenix. We'll do some rehabilitation on the knee. And Mike D'Antoni said he could join the Suns at the tail end of this road trip.
Good. I'd like to see him.
And then he can explain what going Zaza means.
I don't know what it means either, but it sounds to me like he's just so-so. You know, like
okay, yeah, I got
bored.
that.
You know, Or better yet, right now, he's boring.
It'll be a tremendous opportunity, though, for Skeetish-Feely to possibly finally showcase his talent. 7-footer, shoot the three, and D'Antoni said can run like a deer. Inside, the finish from Al Harrington, right where you said he ought to be.
Why not?
Third field goal and 13 attempts for Harrington. Hawks back up by 1, and it rolls in for Nash.
Short-lived. Yeah, the Suns did it to the Heat last night. Every time the Heat looked like they had something going, I mean, the Suns just come right back and just make the crowd sit down in a hurry. They might be the best team in the league over the last 2 years at making the crowd sit down in a hurry after getting excited.
Watch that from Sean Marion, the oohs and ahs of the crowd here in Atlanta. Sean Marion throwing it down hard, and the Suns leading by 3 halfway through the third quarter.
Sean was like, it's just simple. It's just a nice little stroll in the park.
Harrington, there's that jump shot again, going awry.
That's not a jump shot. That's a brick shot. I mean, that was nowhere near the rim.
Diaw baseline pass, Childress, jerked out of there by Pachulia, who's picked up 6 rebounds. Harrington has struggled with his shot, but does have 9 rebounds to his credit here so far in this one against the Suns. Hawks coming off a game here at home on Wednesday, a 106-97 loss to LeBron and the Cavaliers. LeBron had 38 in that game. Pachulia, no foul called on Kurt Thomas. Locked up there with Zaza. Nash, big shot. Absolutely hitting rock bottom is Steve Nash. In the zone with AutoZone, $100 to Phoenix Suns Charities. Suns' third three-pointer of the night, and they now lead by 6. Zaza that.
Zaza? How about Steve Nash?
Phoenix Suns on a 7-0 run here in the third quarter. Show your Suns team spirit the next time you play hoops. You can with this official Suns basketball. Tonight only, visit Suns.com and order 4 tickets to an upcoming Suns game. We'll give you this Suns basketball for nothing. This special offer is only available tonight, so act fast and visit Suns.com right now. Marion on the runaway. Nash with the 3, part of the 7-0 push.
Well, the long arm of the law and Sean Marion just had no steal stats and then putting the point stats up there as well. Then just to push of the basketball, it's nice for them to find Steve sometime.
You know what? Yeah, a little payback for all the passes that he hands out. Marvin Williams checking in out of the timeout. Harrington wants it in a low block and a quick hard double from Steve Nash. Marion now tracking Harrington. They wanted a carry. There's Childress from the outside. Funky shot, but that guy shoots better than 50% from the field. Harrington, aggressive on the offensive glass, and the foul for Al Harrington.
They are just crashing the glass. You're right, Childress 55%.
Explain that one.
I don't know.
Yeah, lays it up for Sean Marion, a little too high. Boarded by Joe Johnson. Don't say that very often, but that pass went about 12.5 feet in the air. Corner 3 for Williams, and then crashing to the floor, Sean Marion. Airborne, going for the rebound. Collided with Harrington, but it looks like Marion is okay.
Yeah, and Al Harrington, good sport about it. You know, he gave Sean a little dap. Say,
on the hip.
I'm just working, man. Sean said, okay.
That is a scary situation for a high flyer like Sean Marion to be bumped in midair. Boris Diaw sealing the mouse. Teron Lue, and now we've got a 3-second lane violation. Mike D'Antoni incensed over here, telling Boris Diaw, if they give you the ball in the lane against a 6-foot point guard, go to the rack.
Yeah. Yes.
4-point lead. Hawks have turned the ball over 12 times, 7 for the Suns. Hard to complain though, the overall play of Diaw though here tonight.
No, not at all. I mean, it's a good chewing out. It's not a negative. It's building his ability to become the player that Mike D'Antoni hopes that he becomes.
Building character, thickening the skin. Teron Lue for 2, and the rebound tapped over to Diaw. Mike D'Antoni imploring his team, run, get it down the floor. Now Raja gives it off to Steve Nash, who will wait for the Boris Diaw screen. Diaw rolls once again. Could have had Lue in the paint. Nash from the outside, and an impressive rebound there from Marvin Williams.
Yeah, Boris got the switch. He should have just posted in the lane for a second and then cleared out. He cleared out too quickly.
Floated out of the paint. Marvin Williams, just 19 years of age, wants the ball down low, jumps airborne, draws the foul, and he'll head to the line. How about the rookie? He jumped in the air trying to grab the attention of Joe Johnson, who finally fed him in the low block.
Well, and you can allow that to go because he is young and he'll understand that he doesn't have to, because in this league they will see you. And so by jumping in the air, if they see you as you're jumping, guess what? You've lost your position to even catch the ball. So that's just a learning process there for the young man.
And he has had some bright moments here in his rookie season. Actually had a career-high 26 points against Miami, and actually his first best game as a pro came against the Suns in Phoenix, his first NBA double-double, when Marvin Williams had 17 points and 11 rebounds, most of that coming in garbage time. You go back to that first meeting too, Eddie, the Suns leading by 37 over the Hawks going to the fourth quarter. The Hawks, bench players, scrubs if you want to call them, 43 points in the fourth quarter against the Suns, who suffered a severe letdown.
It was over.
Yeah. Still 43 points. And the Suns won it going away 112-94 nonetheless. Offensive rebound from Marion. Raja Bell puts it on the floor, draws the contact, and earns a ticket to the line. Foul there by Tyronn Lue.
Going back to Marvin Williams, and obviously he's on the spotlight because, they could have drafted Chris Paul, and but it's tough. It's easy to say after the fact, because what I heard before the draft was a lot of these writers and everybody just, Marvin Williams is just going to be unbelievable. And so I don't want to hear that right now from them. And I'll continue my story with Joy Crawford's mad at somebody.
Well, double technicals have now been issued. Raja Bell, and let's see who it was. I believe it's Tyronn Lue. Yep, it's Lue and Marion. Not Raja Bell, Sean Marion. Hold on. Raja Bell was the one who took the hit from Lue. So very interesting. Sean Marion not one to get teed up very often.
No. So he obviously had a reason, and he expressed it.
Protecting his teammate.
Yeah. It was back to Williams. All these people were saying, he's going to be, his upside is unbelievable, and everyone was raving about him, and then the Hawks take him, and he's not panning out as quickly as Chris Paul. All of a sudden, you should have taken Chris Paul. Well, that's too late. But one of the things that has surprised me about Williams, I thought he was taller than what he is. And, I didn't really view him as just being a small forward, but that's exactly what he is.
Still has that baby face, as one would at the age of 19. Harrington defended now by Nash. The Suns lead is 3, 2:45 to go, third quarter. Joe Johnson from the outside for 3, and he cans it. And we are tied up at 73. Joe Johnson now with 20 points to lead all scorers.
Yeah, the scary thing about this, Tom, is you don't want this game to get to the fourth quarter and Joe Johnson's pumped up to try to get a victory against his old team. And so you don't want to leave that out there, and that's why the Suns this last 2:20, they really have to step it up to get some separation here going into the fourth, because Steve Nash is going to take a seat.
Teams have been tied 6 times here so far tonight. Nash with the driving lay-in. He now has 17. The lead is 2. 2 minutes to go. Tyronn Lue behind the line. Nash saving it now to Raja Bell. Suns shooting 46% from the field. Atlanta 41%. Raja Bell double team. Nash now gets it over to James Jones. Back to Nash. Puts it on the floor. Creating. Hello. Sean Marion elevates and detonates. For Sean Marion now, double figure scoring, 11 points. The Suns lead is 4. Again, Steve Nash making it so easy on his teammates. Double team, Barbosa and Bell on Joe Johnson. There's Harrington for 3. Up and over the backboard and rebounded by James Jones. Nash looking to lob it into Sean Marion, goes out of bounds untouched. And we have a timeout with 1:13 to go here in the third quarter. Nash and Marion, the reigning MVP and the Suns All-Star, hook it up.
An easy connection there, the penetration and dish, and easy flush for the Matrix.
Hawks outscoring the Suns 23-20 here in the third quarter. Eddie, I wanted to ask you about this Atlanta Hawks team coached by your good friend Mike Woodson, and we had a conversation at halftime too about how loose the Suns are before games and how loose can you allow your players to be as they get ready for an NBA game. And went into the Hawks locker room when the team was in Phoenix about a half hour before the game, and there was Josh Smith, their second-year player, on a cell phone. Now this is a team that had really been struggling. Where do you draw the line as far as allowing your players freedom?
Well, I think it's a gradual deal because you can't go in and just totally shock them unless you're Larry Brown, because the important thing is you want to keep your job. You know, Larry Brown, he knows he can get a job anywhere, and he went into New York and just totally shocked them, and they just went backwards, but he's trying to build them back up. Whereas most coaches can't do it. They have to go in and they have to gradually just lay down their rules of the law and try to get players to abide by it. But the most important thing is you have to have veterans on your team and that lead by example, because the coach can only scream and holler and do too much. And so that's the beauty of having a team like the Suns, where you have veterans like Sean Marion and Steve Nash who, you know, are very good at working with players, very good at leading by example. And right now Atlanta does not have that. Joe Johnson is trying to offer it, but it's going to be work in progress for him as well, because he was one of the followers instead of the leaders on this team last year.
Raja Bell with a three-pointer, and you're right, that's been the one criticism of this Hawks team from their own players. Even Royale Ivey said that of the team's trouble, saying we really don't have anybody to step up and take command on this team. And the co-captains are Joe Johnson and Al Harrington. So a very excellent point. Joe is a very quiet player. He is not one that leads with his words. Inside, it's Joe Johnson again. He now has 25 points. The Suns' lead is 2. Final 20 seconds here of the third quarter. Off the mark, Raja Bell struggling with his shot here in Atlanta. Now just 3 of 9 from the field. And the Hawks can take the final shot of the third quarter. They can tie the game with the 2 or take the lead with the 3. They put it in the hands of Tyronn Lue, defended by Nash. Inside of 5 seconds to go, Lue slapped away Marion, but they call goaltending on Sean Marion of the Suns, and we are tied at 80.
Suns have 2 fouls. They can get a pass up the court. They might get a good look here.
Marion looking to get it inbounds. Finally does to Nash. Up ahead, Bell turns. It'll count if it drops, but it did not for Raja Bell. 7th tie of the night between the Suns and Hawks. And they are deadlocked at 80 as we head to the 4th and final quarter here from Phillips Arena in Atlanta. And you are watching Phoenix Suns basketball on Channel 45.
Welcome back to Phillips Arena in Atlanta. Tie ball game, 80-80, Hawks and Suns. Let's check tonight's Jack in the Box inside the box score. Tom Leander.
Eddie Johnson. The dramatic pause. I do know the score is 80-80.
It's 80-80.
That is your abbreviated Jack in the Box inside the box score. And we begin the fourth quarter. The Suns have James Jones, Eddie House, Barbosa, Marion, and Boris Diaw on the floor to begin this final period. A breather as usual for Nash to start the fourth quarter. Powering inside, Joe Johnson with the soft touch and the finish. He now has 27.
It's too difficult to guard. I mean, it doesn't matter if you put a small guy on or a big guy. I mean, he can get his shot off on anyone.
Now remember, Joe Johnson is still playing with 18 screws and 3 plates still around that left eye from that injury he had with the Suns that occurred during the playoffs. Back comes Boris Diaw and the Suns. Diaw now with 21. You know, there are a lot of Suns fans that would say some of those screws were loose for Joe Johnson. But that's another matter.
Yep. Well.
Tyronn Lue puts it on the floor. A bump and a foul on Eddie House. Tied up at 82. Now the 8th tie between these two teams here tonight. All right, inside the box score, Mr. Johnson. Okay. There you have it.
Well, Joe Johnson added 2 points to that, didn't he? He has 27 now. Bob Atlock says, come on now. Boris Diaw, 21. Steve Nash, well, normal. We'll see another double-double, flirting with a triple.
So it's a 2-point Hawks lead. This is a team and a franchise that hasn't been in the NBA playoffs since 1999. That was the lockout shortened season. They've never had a winning season since they moved here to Phillips Arena. 5 on the shot clock. Barbosa into the lane. Throws it up on Marvin Williams and draws the foul.
He kind of cradles the basketball like Stephon Marbury. You know, I know he and Stephon Marbury were very close. Leandro's first year in the league, Stephon really took him under his wing. And one of the things I think that he's incorporated into his game is when he does drive, he kind of cups the basketball sort of like a running back.
His value is certainly on the rise for the Suns. You know, we talk about Boris Diaw and how uncertain Mike D'Antoni was with the talents of Boris Diaw going into this season, and not really knowing until he saw that he could cover power forwards and centers, that he could really serve a major role with the Suns. Same situation for Leandro Barbosa. He was a wild card going into this season.
Yeah, he was, but you know, I just told people, I said most young players have a 3-year window, and normally the 3rd year is when they really break out, and I think Leandro has done that. If not for the injury, I think it'd be even more because he was rolling when he got hurt.
Childress drives in and then tips it home. Strong move there from Josh Childress. Second hoop, has 6 rebounds. It's a 3-point lead for the Hawks. The block, and here comes Atlanta again, galloping ahead, leading by 3.
Eddie House doesn't get that call, and mainly because he doesn't drive as much, and so the officials don't buy into it as readily as you would say of Steve Nash.
Joe Johnson throws it right into the lap of James Jones. Suns need a push here, out on the floor without Steve Nash. Trailing the Hawks by 3. Atlanta coming in with just 11 wins on the season. Tied with the Bobcats for fewest wins in the NBA. Shot clock inside of 10 seconds. Barbosa drives, rising up and banks it in. Tough angle there for Barbosa.
I don't know if any angle is tough for him. I'm telling you, he has a variety of shots. I mean, between he and Sean Marion with their off-balance shots, I mean, you normally don't see that from 2 players on the same team.
The unique and special skills of Barbosa. Johnson into the corner, not even close was Childress. James Jones gets it over to Eddie House, back to Junior, straight away, and down it goes for James Jones, and the Suns back on top now by 1.
Just found James right in rhythm of the run. You know, caught him right there with an excellent pass. All he had to do was jump up and mechanically shoot it in.
Timeout Hawks. So the Suns get a hoop from Barbosa, a basket from James Jones, and they take the lead here in the 4th.
Suns are going to need more of this time, Leander. Pushing the basketball with Steve Nash on the bench and finding guys like James Jones.
Suns by 1 here in the 4th quarter. Time now for tonight's APS Power matchup. APS, the power to make it happen. Next up for the Suns, the Cavaliers on Sunday. Tangled in a game with the Indiana Pacers and their new shooting forward, Peja Stojakovic, who did not suit up tonight for the Indiana Pacers. And in the 3rd quarter, it's LeBron with 24 points and the Cavs leading by 6. That is tonight's APS Power matchup. Under 9 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter. Tyronn Lue, his miss, aborted by Childress. Backs down on James Jones. Too strong on the follow, and the rebound is Sean Marion.
That would have been a nice play because he basically did everything correctly, and after garnering that rebound, created space and was looking for contact and didn't get it.
Suns' biggest lead here tonight has been 9. Barbosa, big shot, hitting rock bottom. Leandro Barbosa. Another $100 to Phoenix Suns charities from AutoZone. Suns now have plugged 5 3-pointers. Their lead is 4. Biggest advantage for the Hawks. They were up by 12 in that first period. Lue swings it over now to Harrington. Oh, ugly release. That was not a confident shot at all. Up ahead, Eddie House quickly held and fouled there by Salim Stoudemire, and a little dap on the head for Stoudemire from Eddie House.
Yeah, well, you know, first Al Harrington. I mean, really hasn't been close on a shot all night outside the paint. And then the push-up to Eddie House, and that's what you do. You attack. You attack that rim.
And it's Eddie to the line. He has been very accurate with his free throws this season, 84% for Eddie House.
Okay, the fourth quarter has been a serious problem for the Atlanta Hawks all year long. I mean, they play a good, solid 3 quarters, and then just for some reason, and obviously confidence plays a lot into it as well as inexperience. I mean, they just melt down.
Hawks outscored the Suns 30-23 in the 3rd quarter. Headed to the 4th period, all tied up. Suns lead now is 6. Harrington, muscle move on Boris Diaw. Foul on 3D. And to the line will go Al Harrington to try to finish off a 3-point play. Harrington now with 14 points to go along with his 11 rebounds.
I'm just so glad that he doesn't go in the paint all the time. I don't think the Suns really have an answer for him once he catches the ball down low.
Rattles home for Harrington. 3-point play, cuts the lead in half. Barbosa running the point for Phoenix. Puts it in the hands of Diaw, who's defended by Joe Johnson. Back out now, it's Marion. Eddie House, he'll fire it up for 3. Rebound tipped out of bounds by James Jones, and Atlanta will have it. 7:34 to go. Hawks trailing by 3. Just 13 wins last season for this Hawks team. Finished 13-69.
Wow.
Here comes Lue. Jabbed out of there by Eddie House, and the Hawks will still have it. 15 on the shot clock.
Good recovery there by Eddie House. You know, got beat on the play, didn't give up, chased the basketball. Tyronn Lue made a mistake. He stuck the ball out on an easy layup and gave Eddie House a chance to knock it away.
Joe Johnson against his former mate Marion, drives past him, now tipping off the glass, chasing the offensive rebound. Here comes Barbosa and Phoenix. Barbosa crossing over, driving into the lane, offensive foul as he ran right into Tyronn Lue.
Didn't see him. I'll tell you right now, he didn't see him. He thought that he really had one guy to beat. He didn't see Tyronn Lue setting up on him, and that's why he ran right over him.
Lue takes the charge, and here come the Hawks, again trying to take a bite out of this 3-point Suns lead. 5 minutes deep here into the 4th quarter. Hawks just 1 of their last 7 field goal attempts. Harrington, cross-court Lue. Very good 3-point shooter. Shoots 47% from behind the line. That is 3rd best in the NBA, but they go inside to Childress, and the lead is 1.
He is catching and finishing inside. Now I see why he's shooting 55%.
Barbosa sets up Sean Marion for the flush inside. Back to a 3-point lead. Diaw, very physical battle now with Harrington, and then they call a foul on Boris Diaw. He was looking over at Joey Crawford saying, I'm getting abused down here by Harrington. They dump the ball into Al Harrington, and then the hand check call.
Well, he is. Harrington's very physical presence, and they are allowing him to really do some good wrestle work down there before he gets the basketball.
3rd personal foul on Boris Diaw. Cutting off the screen, slashing in, Salim Stoudemire. Watch out for Salim. He exploded for 30 points in a game earlier this season against the Hornets. And has now cut the Suns' lead to 1.
If you ask the Hawks, what would they like the score to be and be happy with it with 6 minutes to go, and you said they'd be down 1, they would have took it. And so the Suns really have to be worried about what's happening here in this game.
Nash carries the basketball, hesitated, thinking about the pass, kept it on the floor. Turnover Suns. Atlanta will have it with the chance to take the lead. You're right, Mike Woodson has to be happy with the way things are unfolding here at home for the Hawks.
The Suns have to be a little disappointed after the big win last night against Miami because that'll be sandwiched between 2 games against teams that they should beat, and that's Orlando and Atlanta Hawks right now.
We talked about that at the outset, the trend of playing down to lesser competition. Lue and the Hawks take the lead. Rolling is Diaw, taking the dish from Steve Nash. Boris Diaw now with 23 to lead the Suns. Beautiful pick and roll executed there. Nash and Boris Diaw. 5:40 to go, fourth quarter. Suns 96, Hawks 95. Childress backing down on Nash. Knocks Nash over, and then look at the scrum for the rebound. Diaw keeps it alive to Raja Bell. Raja for three. Comes up short. Sean Marion over the top of Childress, but Atlanta grabs away the defensive carom. And here they come down by one. Back and forth they go. Suns and Hawks on a Friday night in Georgia. Stoudemire, look at that jab step, pull back, and drills it. That was a major league move by Salim Stoudemire.
Yes, it was. That was extremely, and you know what? Leandro really didn't make it look as bad as it should have looked because of his speed and quickness. He was able to at least get back to it, but that was a major league rock back there.
Nash drives past Harrington, trying to draw the foul, and hits the hoop. Steve Nash with strength inside. Ninth tie, deadlocked at 98.
How many games have the Suns been involved in like this, where it goes back and forth and you're waiting to get stopped and they just don't come?
You're due for an overtime game, Eddie Johnson. Dan Marley was calling all those triple OTs and double OT games. Harrington inside on Marion. Suns do not want this game to head to overtime. It goes out of bounds. Suns will have it with the game tied at 98.
Well, we're in for a good affair here with 4:17 to go, and Suns find themselves on a back-to-back against a very worthy opponent tonight in the Atlanta Hawks.
Suns shooting 70% from the field here in the fourth quarter, but still tied up with the Hawks at 98. Tonight's High Flyers presented by Southwest Airlines, official airline of the NBA. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom, and your captain, Eddie Johnson.
Boris Diaw inside real quickly. So Stoudemire's been on. Sean Marion up in the air, took a tough fall, then got the breakaway. A little mini takeoff from inside the free throw line.
Crash landing and then dunks it on his own dome. Marion and the Suns a bit perplexed though here in the fourth quarter, wondering why they are tied with this Hawks team.
Well, because the Hawks do play hard, and a credit to Mike Woodson and his coaching staff. They have shown that ability, especially after the real bad start. They play hard. They're in games. They just don't know how to finish them, and let's hope that's the case tonight.
40 bench points for Atlanta. 15 coming from Tyronn Lue. Stoudemire also chipping in off the pine for this Atlanta team. Nash tied up inside, ambushed in there, looking for help, finds Marion.
Unbelievable. How did Steve Nash? Most players will just pick up the ball and they just, oh, I got it back. But he keeps his dribble. I've never seen anybody in the history of the game that can keep their dribble in the paint with all that commotion going on like Steve Nash.
It's called calm under pressure. Joe Johnson and Sean Marion would have none of that. Suns come back the other way. Marion with the rejection of J.J. Barbosa hangs and finishes. Beautiful touch with the left hand for the Brazilian blur.
Relentless. That's all you can say about Leandro. You think you have him hemmed up, and he just turns the corner and continues to come at him.
Triggered by the defense of the Matrix. So it's Nash also chipping in for the Suns here, keeping it alive under the hoop.
And just making something happen, Tom. Unbelievable.
Suns 102, Hawks 98 here in the fourth. Check out special offers on Southwest.com for the latest and greatest in air, car, and hotel deals. Go back to that defensive play by Sean Marion against his former teammate.
Joe thought he had an easy one here, but Sean came from behind with the swat. And I mean, just all ball.
Talk about perfect anticipation. And then at the other end, LB.
Man, just speed personified.
Stoudemire waiting for Childress. They want the ball into the hands of Al Harrington. Double team help from Boris Diaw. Cross court, Joe Johnson has a good look. Comes up short. Critical rebound by Sean Marion. Inside of 3 minutes to go.
They got the look they wanted. They got it into the hands of the guy they would like to take that shot as well.
Diaw sets the screen, freeing Nash. And the rebound by Stoudemire, who loses it to Boris Diaw. Pump fake, mugged there by Harrington. Hard foul will send Diaw to the line for 2.
Yeah, that's just a tough break for the Hawks there. I mean, they had the basketball. Stoudemire just lost control of it. And Boris Diaw just hanging around. Johnny on the spot. Ball all of a sudden just comes right to him.
Like Salim Stoudemire laid an egg in there. And to the line goes Boris Diaw. A few cat calls here in Atlanta.
You know, when Boris makes his free throw, he stays at the line. You know, a lot of guys back up as soon as they release it, and they don't realize that it really does more harm than good.
Diaw misses them both, and the Suns' lead is still 4. Atlanta led by 2 with 5:08 to go. After a Salim Stoudemire three-pointer, the Suns then went on the 6-0 run. Hoops from Nash, Marion, and Barbosa. Could have had a couple of free throws there from Diaw. 2:20 to go. It's Lue. In and out. Marion tips it out of bounds, and a tussle there with Childress. So credit Josh Childress for the hustle on the offensive glass.
They're going to take a 20-second here because this is a valuable possession for them, no doubt about it.
Childress has 9 rebounds in the game off the bench to go along with his 8 points. Time for an Inhale Life 20-second breather, brought to you by the Arizona Department of Health Services, who reminds you to inhale life and be tobacco-free. For information on how to quit smoking, call 800-556-6222 or visit ashline.org. Shouldn't be surprised, though, at the leaping ability of Josh Childress. He was actually not only a basketball star in high school, he played volleyball, was a high school volleyball star as well. See the quick leaps there with Sean Marion.
Yeah, he's been a presence today, no doubt about it, in this basketball game. I'm really encouraged by how he's really a step forward and answer the challenge. I mean, not a great offensive game or anything of that magnitude, but, you know, just hustling. And I stated before, when you hustle and you have the tools to play this game, good things are going to happen.
Suns were outscored by 9 in the opening quarter. Came back, outscored the Hawks by 16 in the second. Atlanta then a +7 in the third. They were tied going to the fourth quarter. Stoudemire pressured there by Barbosa and still knocks it in. Tough shot, Salim Stoudemire.
Not a pretty looking shot. He turned sideways, but he has supreme confidence.
Double figures now for Stoudemire, the cousin of Damon. Salim with 11. Inside of 2 minutes to go. Suns lead down to a precious 2. Nash in the face of Childress, rebounded by Joe Johnson. Hawks with a chance to tie or take the lead.
I think Suns have to keep an eye on Stoudemire. He's very frisky with the ball. He is not adverse to putting it up from behind the arc.
Johnson goes cross court to Ron Lue. It's straight and sweet, and we are tied up at 102. High point of the season for Atlanta. Game when they had back-to-back wins over the Spurs and the Cavaliers, giving the Suns all they can handle here tonight in Atlanta. Nash in a switch, wants to drive on Harrington. Spins. Good defensive pressure there by Harrington. Nash had the ball caught on his left leg, but it's a foul on Harrington of the Hawks. That is number 4.
Yeah, and the good thing for the Hawks here, I don't think they're in the penalty right now, so you know, it's okay to give a foul in this situation. I don't think Mike Woodson wanted Harrington guarding Steve Nash for that many seconds in the shot clock either. That
could have been a turnover against Nash and the Suns. And the reaction from Al Harrington, who is fed up with the losing here in Atlanta. We'll take a timeout. We're back with a $1:14 to go in the fourth quarter. Another proposition for Steve Nash and a spirited crowd here in Atlanta. Come explore the new Verizon Wireless Jungle on level 4 of the U.S. Airways Center at all Suns home games. Tons of fun for kids and adults alike. Verizon Wireless, we never stop working for you. And those female fans never stop asking for Steve.
Well, doesn't she know that he's already taken?
Yep. Alejandra and the beautiful twins tied up at 102. Nash along the baseline. Boris Diaw, big hoop, and down it goes for 3D. Suns lead by 2. Diaw now with 25 points. Back here in Atlanta. What a
he felt good
bucket.
about that one, too. You know he felt good about making that shot.
Rattled it home. 12 seconds on the shot clock now for Harrington. Double team, cross court, Lue. Pitch it over to Stoudemire, the southpaw. In and out and down for Celine. And it's a three-pointer. Hawks take the lead.
I said that's the guy you don't want to take the three. I mean, he doesn't hesitate. That's the dangerous one.
He does not play like a rookie. Nash for 3. Oh, down it goes. The big shot for Steve Nash and the big answer. Suns up by 2. Stoudemire's 3.
How many big shots?
With the three-pointer.
How many big shots has he made in 2 years he's been with the Suns? I mean, unreal.
So clutch. Harrington fouled by Marion. He'll go to the line to try to tie this up.
Harrington not a great free throw shooter, so probably a right guy to foul in that situation. But, you know, Al Harrington, I don't know what he was thinking. And Mike Woodson's like, would you get up on him? You know, you don't think Steve Nash is going to take a three?
First one is good for Harrington. Next one to tie.
This is huge. I mean, because if they can get the tie, then they can just defend and try to send this game into overtime.
1 of 2 and the rebound to Nash. Cradles it in the backcourt and then fouled. Or do the Suns call timeout? It's a timeout.
I'm trying to figure out, you know, Al Harrington, if we can get a replay when we come back of him on the free throw line. I just got something to ask about. Why is he standing 2 feet behind the line and he hit the front of the rim?
And thus the Suns hang on to a 1-point lead. 20 seconds to go here in the fourth. The Suns will have the ball when we come back. Suns with the ball up by 1. 20 seconds to go. Check out the Arizona Sports Report on FSN Arizona nightly at 9:30 p.m. for interviews, game previews, highlights, and player profiles. The ASR gets you up close and personal with the Suns nightly at 9:30, only on FSN Arizona.
Well, quick foul, probably after about the first 4 or 5 seconds. They'll try to get a steal. And if they can't get the steal, they're going to try to foul. Or if I'm Mike Woodson, I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I want to chance it because you know the Suns are going to try to get the ball into Steve Nash's hands and he doesn't miss free throws. So I would assume try to foul the first person to catch it and not allow Steve Nash to catch the ball from out of bounds.
So both teams conferring with their coaches. Next foul, bonus situation. Referees now involved as well. Over there near midcourt. Woodson and the Hawks trying to stun the Suns. Joe Johnson, 27 points for the Hawks. Had 23 in the first meeting back in Phoenix. Mike D'Antoni sitting on the scorer's table over here in front of us, watching the proceedings. And up ahead, it's Barbosa on the runaway. Goaltending. Give Barbosa the hoop.
That was a heck of a pass by Boris Diaw. That was a heck of a pass. And I don't know what the officials are calling here, but if they're just saying a foul, I don't see where the foul was because the ball was released. And it looked like Josh Childress made a good block looking at the layup again.
Well, there was some serious contact after the release.
Well, see, it doesn't count then. You know, if it's after release, it doesn't count at our level, at the NBA level. Now, in college, they might call it, or high school, but not at the NBA level. If the ball is released and you get the basketball, you can almost tackle the guy. It doesn't matter. You will not get the foul. And that play, it looked like Josh Childress got a good, clean block. The ball looked like it was still going up.
So Atlanta will have it. 19 seconds to go. And the brilliance of the Suns in the out-of-bounds play, sending Barbosa the other direction.
Oh, no, that's goaltending. As you look at it there, it hit the glass first. So once the ball hits the glass, then you cannot block it. So that was an easy call for the official.
And a big, big basket for the Suns. Their lead is now 3.
Salim Stoudemire. Should I say it again? Salim Stoudemire.
Somebody find him as he walks out of that huddle and track him the entire way.
Joe Johnson. Those are the two. You don't want them to get the good look from 3. I know Al Harrington's coming to the game shooting 39%, but I'll feel more comfortable with him taking the shot than a Joe Johnson or Salim Stoudemire, who feast behind the line and can really step back, as we just saw with Stoudemire, 2 or 3 feet behind the line.
The Hawks are now out of timeouts here with 19 seconds to go, trailing by 3. And the Suns will come out defensively with Barbosa, Rajabel, Nash, Marion, and Boris Diaw. Atlanta counters with a Harrington, Joe Johnson, Marvin Williams, Tyronn Lue, and Salim Stoudemire.
You know, the question always comes up, do you foul? But it's only if it's about less than 5 seconds to go. With 19 seconds, you don't want to do that, because then you get 2 quick points and then you can foul and hope the Suns miss a free throw. Now it's a 1-possession game to tie it up with 2 points.
They inbound it to Stoudemire. He's got a good look. Couldn't get it. Rebound, Boris Diaw and the Suns. Loping ahead. Gets it over to Rajabel. Loses it out of bounds. Hawks ball.
You know, and you know, my thing with that, and I know Raja was trying to maybe run down some clock, but you know what? You weren't going to run out 10 seconds. So I just stop, pick it up, and get fouled, and go to the line and ice the basketball game.
Suns need to quickly find their man. Again, Atlanta without any timeouts.
Now I would foul. I wouldn't let him get it up. I mean, I would foul something to the line.
Lue for 3 and the tie. Rebound tapped out of there, and the Suns are going to win it here in Atlanta. 0.4 seconds to go and a foul. And that will send Barbosa to the line. The Suns are going to sneak away with the win here tonight against the Hawks.
Suns should feel fortunate because, and first of all, the last 2 possessions for the Hawks, the tie, they were both wide open looks. I mean, Salim Stoudemire, the one was wide open, and probably why he missed it, and then Tyronn Lue just walked right into a 3.
Eddie, I'm with you too. I'm with that same school of thought that you foul before he gets off that 3-pointer.
Yeah, below 10 seconds, I think, you know, you have to, because you have to trust that your guys can get the rebound on a missed free throw. I've just seen too many games this year where teams tie or win the game with a 3 at the end.
And Hawks without the timeout, so even with the Barbosa miss, they'll have to heave it up in one motion with 0.4 to go. This will seal the deal for the Suns. Down it goes for Barbosa. A 4-point lead. And the Suns now have won 2 of the first 3 on this 6-game road trip. Down go the Atlanta Hawks. A feisty Hawks squad here tonight.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you know, Suns played just as good to win. So it shouldn't be a happy feeling in their locker room, because the Hawks should not have competed with them to this level. But a win is a win. The second win on the trip, and let's get ready to go to Cleveland and see what we can do.
Joe Johnson, 27 for the Hawks. Boris Diaw back in Atlanta with 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. Back with our player of the game and Suns report on the other side.